Fanthorpe, and I'm joined today by Kit Watson from SideKit, and we're going to be talking about her business. She is a business strategist, basically. Lots of things in tow. You've got a team of people behind you now that you've built up, and I'm excited to get into your story. But before we do that, just a couple of reminders here on Digital Boost. So this is a success story. We are running these on Fridays because we want you to be able to listen to folks that have kind of made it. They're out there, they're digitally savvy, they're using these tools to build their business, and they might work in the same sector or industry as you do. And it's great to hear from them and be able to ask them questions if you want to, and just see how they've overcome hurdles and maybe get a little bit of advice as well, which is great. Now, it's a Friday. Woo! We made it. We made it, guys. And one of the cool things that we do on Fridays, and I don't know if you know this, Kit, but on our Facebook group, our community group, on Fridays, you can put up special offers. So if you've got discounts that are happening this weekend, you've got a sale, you've got something happen. Oh yeah, Mother's Day this weekend. Thanks, Jean. So Mother's Day this weekend, if you've got special offers, pop them up on the community page. We'd love to see what your offers are. Take advantage of that platform. Yeah, it's there for you. So let's get started. If you want to ask questions, drop them in the chat, Q&A. I know a lot of you guys sit out on Facebook and LinkedIn, so just pop them in the comment section there. Kit, welcome to Digital Boost.
Thank you. Hello. Thanks for having me.
It's literally my pleasure. We were just talking before about Kit's name, Kit Watson. I was like, you really should be a detective. And you said that your father actually named you after like a Phantom comic book or something.
Yeah, he really liked the Phantom. So yeah.
It's a brilliant name. I love it. And I love the business name of SideKit. It's perfect for what you do. And it has your name in it. It's like win-win.
Yeah, my partner actually came up with that, so I can't claim it.
Oh, there's some copyright, rights there. He's going to cash in later. So tell us a little bit about your business, what you do. Let's start with how it got started. How did you go on this journey? Why? And what your business offers as services, I think would be a great place to start. And while you do that, I'm going to jump over onto the socials and just get the live chats open so we can all be one big happy funnel.
Cool. Sounds good. So I had been working for 15 years, basically being like the right-hand woman to managing directors, and the time just felt right where I could kind of go out on my own. I'm very passionate about business, and I also love helping people. And I felt like through my studies and my experience that I could help people with their marketing and their systems. A big thing I pride myself in is actually listening to business owners, and quite a lot of the time they actually know what they want. And I just help them make that happen. And then other times businesses can be really stuck in what I call tunnel vision, which is where they are kind of stuck because they've been doing what they're doing for a long time, or they're kind of overwhelmed with ideas. And I just come in and try and help them get clarity, give them fresh perspective, and just make things happen for them so that they can focus on their business rather than in their business. It just really stems from loving to help people, having a passion for business, loving coming up with creative ideas, and loving to see people do well and actually find joy through business, and through that also improve lives. So yeah, that's what I love about working in business.
That's amazing. See, look at that. I had some keyboard issues. I'm sorry, my keyboard must be dying. So I was like, what I love the fact that, it's interesting that your name is SideKit. It almost should be like, main show kit, or something like I am the kit, the main kit or something, because I guess that's kind of where you came from, is that you were that assistant kind of level. And I guess in a way you still are, but really you've really pulled yourself up into the space where you deserve to be, which is, what you're talking about, and how to listen to folks, and how to help them to get where they would like to go, which is fantastic. Yeah. So congratulations to you, because you don't just work alone. How many members of your team do you have now?
Well, I've got Georgia, who is my marketing assistant, and then I've got Taylor, who is my virtual assistant, and then I've got a team of contractors that I've actually spent quite a lot of time building up trusted relationships with local people who are really good at what they do in their realm, like designers, web developers, all sorts.
I reckon that's one of the scariest parts for business, is knowing when to scale. When do I actually start investing in bringing somebody else on board? How did you go about making that decision?
I just needed it. I feel like I would be talking to my partner and I was like, to wind back a little bit, when I started SideKit, I expected to have between 4 and 5 clients. So I just wanted to be kind of like a business sidekick that the business owner could talk to, and I'd work somewhere between 5 and 10 hours a week and just make things happen. I'm qualified in Google Ads and social media and all of that stuff, which a lot of now I'm contracting out. But I quickly had about 25 clients, not dealing with them all, but that could be through leads. And so I was like, this is something, I found something that people actually really need. And that's when I started to build up Contractors, and then even just the coordinating of it all started being a lot. So that's when I got Taylor on board as my virtual assistant to take the admin off me. And then a few months later, I started in June last year. So a few months later, by January, I had Taylor and Georgia assisting me.
It's a pretty phenomenal story, because you've done that during COVID, but I guess the beauty of being somebody who does this kind of work is that this is the perfect time to be in this industry, and it will always be the perfect time, because marketing is essential. All of this kind of strategy is essential. It never kind of goes anywhere, does it? It just evolves, I'd say.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, now I'm really putting you on the spot, because I didn't say I was going to ask you any of these questions, so I appreciate you. Can I ask you, when you were going to hire and outsource folks, how did you go about that? Because that can be quite scary as well. Not only scaling, but how can I trust these people, and how do I go through that process in order to onboard them?
Yeah, so with Georgia, I did quite extensive interviews. I actually interviewed 9 people for that. And it was quite challenging, actually, because there was quite a high caliber of applicants. I actually hired Georgia because of her initiative. She emailed me, just initiative and honesty. I found her very upfront from the start, and I really respect that. I think I could tell that she was a really authentic person, and that's what I want throughout my business. But I also did a creative assignment. So I did 2 interviews, and then once I was kind of happy with that process, I did a creative assignment where I actually basically gave them something I was working on at the moment for one of my clients, but changed the client, made up a brand name and got them to do a campaign. And then from that, I decided. It was quite a big process. It actually took a lot of time, but it was really important to me that I found the right person. And I'm stoked, Georgia has turned out so well. With Taylor, she actually runs her own virtual assistant business. So she just works for me very part-time. And I just started off kind of dabbling in just projects, ad hoc type stuff. And now she works for me on a weekly basis. So yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And then you mentioned that you've got a lot of contractors out there. How do you get those guys involved? Is there certain sites that you use to find those people, and or were they like referrals, or how did you find them?
Yeah, so my web developer I found through an existing client.
Mm,
And I just could see that he was so hardworking. He was so dedicated. He cared so much. Like,
mm.
I was just really impressed. And then I just kept getting work, and I just was like, hey, do you want this work? And we've just built up from there. So that was really lucky. My graphic designer is now a friend of mine since we were three. So I know that I can trust her. She's always been incredibly creative.
Yeah.
And I also feel excited because I get to help her with her business as well.
Yeah. And she's
Um,
done a great job. I love your logo. It's fantastic.
Oh, this was actually, the logo was done by Paper Cuts. So that
Oh,
was
okay.
another lady. So yeah, I also work with her. I've got like a bunch of
You got so many. So
yeah.
did you just bring them in various different ways through people that you knew? Was it mostly word of mouth, or would you say that you did use some sites like Fiverr or something like that in order
I
to?
didn't actually use any sites. Yeah,
Okay.
it was all through contacts,
Hmm.
which is usually the best way to find people because you get that like word of mouth and trust. I think I found one of my SEO and Google guys through Google. So that kind of makes sense. But again, just kind of started on small projects to see if I could really trust the way that he works and whether we have a good connection, and yeah, just build it up from there.
So when you work with all these contractors, and this is going to go into your digital kind of bit a little bit, and then I want to come back to some of the challenges you've had and of course your successes, because I love hearing those. But just because we're in this realm, when you communicate with your team, I mean, obviously a lot of us don't have physical offices these days, which is, in my opinion, quite brilliant, like for the environment and a lot of other reasons. But
Yeah.
how do you communicate with your team of people? I mean, they're out there. Do you use certain tools for that, or?
So with Georgia and Taylor, we have Teams. So we use the Microsoft Office 365 suite. That's just because I've used that in previous companies, and it's just been, so I actually made quite a big investment in getting that all set up for us.
Yeah.
We're about to use that for our phone system as well. For my web developer, we quite often are working on like big projects, and he uses Asana. So I just jump onto that because he actually manages it for me as well.
Mhm.
So that makes it really nice and simple. When I'm showing clients who I work a lot with, like kind of transparency so that they can see what I'm working on, I use ClickUp, which is basically an equivalent of like Trello or Asana.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the time just email. Like my Google guy is super, like I just write a brief and send an email, and then he just emails me back.
Yeah.
So I kind of, yeah, mix and match. I'm trying to get it a little bit more reined in. I get messages from clients through all sorts of channels. So, and it's kind of part of my role to just let that happen because I have to make it easy for them. So yeah, I get like Instagram messages in the weekends and yeah, all sorts.
You can have too many platforms. This is a real thing.
Yeah.
The Digital Boost team, I'm going to tell you, we're offenders. We're big time offenders. We're like, what other digital tool can we add to our tech stack to make our life have more digital tools, And eventually folks like, on the team will be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Can we just first look at the tools we've got and just see if it has that capability, and perhaps we haven't tapped into it, because we so often learn about a tool, we get into it. And this is actually, we're going to be doing a session on Microsoft Outlook, and it was a request that's coming up shortly. And what happens is, one of the trainers had said to us, often you'll get a tool, you'll learn about it, and then you stop exploring, you stop learning anything new about it, but it keeps evolving. And so you don't realize its full capability.
Yeah. That's
So
actually probably one of my strengths is like systems. So before I actually came into this role, I was like a marketing and operations manager for like, I think 8 years. So I had to really dig into like the back end of systems and figure them out and be that person in the business that knew what the system was capable of. So that's quite handy in what I do as well. I wouldn't place myself as a marketing agency because business owners can talk to me about all sorts of different things within their business because of my operations side as well.
Yeah. Look, that you're an asset. We know that. And that's why I've been so successful. You know what I mean? Because you know how to put things together and how to make sure everything's running on the back and on the front. And obviously you've got really good soft people skills because you're able to maintain such a vast team. Let's get into some of the challenges that you've experienced, because most small businesses getting started, they say, it's can be hardest in the first 2 years. Also, just times have been interesting.
Yeah. I would say overwhelm has been a big one. Like I said before, I expected to have 4 or 5 clients, and then I was suddenly, kind of spending a lot of time on like inquiries, which I wasn't expecting to do. So I had to set really strong boundaries around. I now have a Calendly link that you can book a free, like that's really the only way you can like come on board with me, as you book through Calendly. And I really just reserve Monday mornings for that time, so people can book in on Monday mornings, because like I've got these clients that are already on board, and I actually have to really respect that. So to go and then spend all my time on inquiries was and that's also when I got Taylor on board as well. So overwhelm, I think it's quite common to get like imposter syndrome and things like that. You're like, yeah, who am I to do this and that? But when you can actually see that you're helping businesses and getting like seeing their results and hearing their feedback, that kind of helps that part. Work-life balance when you're like obsessed with your business and
you're preaching to every small business owner right now. Yeah.
I'm really lucky that I've got a really good coach and mentor. But I remember when I was in the first like patch of overwhelm, and she said, you know what, you're learning what your clients are going through. And it was so true. Like I can really empathize with how hard we work, the types of hours we put in. It's definitely different to having a day job, even if your day job, like I've had high intensity day jobs, but it is totally different kettle of fish. All that stuff. I guess I've unfortunately did like lose a staff member. It just wasn't quite the right fit, and that's a really, really hard thing to go through for business owners. Obviously you always want the best for other people and also for your own business, so that's quite a challenge as well. There's all sorts of challenges. It's like, there's lots of hurdles, but I recommend having people that you can talk to along the way and having like friends that can relate to you. And I'm also part of a business networking group. I'm the president of the business networking group, so that's another thing that keeps me busy. But it's really helpful for me having other business people and business owners that I can talk to.
I'd say that's what I wanted to touch on. You mentioned you have a coach, and it's interesting when I chat with businesses or folks, they might not have come on as in this capacity, but they might come on as a provider, and they'll start talking about having a mentor or a coach. And I always find it really interesting because some of the most successful people that I talk to, that's what they generally chalk it down to. But yet we're always, I feel like, I don't want to generalize, but I think a lot of folks are really remiss to invest in a coach because they don't see the value. But being on this side of the camera and talking to so many business owners, I would say it's probably one of the top 5 things that brings people's businesses from a certain place to the place where they want to be, or where they're heading in the direction that they want to go. How long have you been working with your mentor?
Okay, so anyone who follows me on Instagram will know that I absolutely like rave about my coach. I work with a coach called Bree Nichols from The Being Way. I've been working with her for 2 and a bit years. Started off as personal coaching while I was working. And then when I started my business, it moved into business mentoring. And now I've just finished the coach training that she runs. So now I'm a qualified coach as well. The reason I did the coach training was not to become a coach, was to like just be a better listener, leader, communicator, person.
You're an overachiever. We can tell. Yeah, it's okay. We love them. That's why you're here.
I can't help it. I'm addicted. I'm always signed up to something. But yeah, she just basically changed my life, and she was like a big part of actually what gave me the courage to go out on my own. So
shout out to Bree. I hope you're watching. Yeah, like she's up here on Digital Boost now, with your assistant. So that's fantastic. What a great, I'm glad we went down this path actually, because it's fruited so many things. Now tell me about some of the successes. Like I don't like to chalk success up to be financial. It can be, it doesn't have to be sales. It doesn't have to be anything like that. These can be measures that you have put in place for yourself to, realize that you have been successful in what you're doing. What successes do you feel like you've experienced to date in your business?
I think something I'm really proud of at the moment is Georgia. So she's a marketing student and my marketing assistant, and just watching her every week, like learn and grow, it just blows my mind. Like, I feel like a proud mom or something. So yeah, helping people learn. I think sometimes it's weird when I get feedback. I feel like I'm not really doing much, and then I'll get this like incredible feedback from people, and it just makes me feel so good that I'm genuinely helping people with their business, because that's what it's all about.
Anything in your personal, like, has it changed anything for your actual life? Like having your own business, do you feel like, I know as a business owner, often you're just 24/7. It's really hard to shut off. It's hard to keep those boundaries, especially if, it could really affect your bottom line, or you're thinking about your bottom line too much, and then all of a sudden you're just driving towards whatever, and it's hard to turn off. Have you kind of gotten to any milestones where you feel like, oh, okay, this is manageable now, and this is success. I'm hitting some forms of success here?
Yeah, I think a big one is like starting to pay yourself, because even though it's like, it's not all about money, but at first you're investing in setting up all those systems. A lot of like hours are going into like building your website and all of that stuff, and it all does have a cost, and it took a while to actually get to the point where I was paying myself. So that's a big thing. I just think the learning, like I just learn so much every single day. I'm learning something new about myself, about other people. Feeling the support of my partner has been like amazing, and it's probably brought us even like stronger together, is just having such a supportive partner. Like we'd been kind of talking about the idea of me going out on my own, and then one day we were sitting next to each other at our desks, and he goes, "What about SideKit, your business SideKit?" And it was like, just having his support has just been like amazing. I think
it's good. You don't have to, that's what it is. And that's fantastic. So, I'm looking forward to hear about more successes in the future, definitely following along and watching your journey as your business grows. Now let's get into, because you work in strategy, you work in marketing, systems, all this kind of stuff. I'd be interested to hear, so we know that you're like a 365 kind of gal, team, and it is a financial investment. Some people go with it just because they know it, like you said. Some people go with it because because they feel just the reputation precedes itself. It's something they've heard of before, and so they feel comfortable with that. We've talked about the fact that you use Asana with some members of your team. ClickUp, we've got, and Calendly. Look, I've got Calendly. I love it. It changes your life. And what I'm going to do for everyone here, two things I want to comment on before I ask you about more digital tools that you use in your business. One is that I am collating a list, and at the end of this, I will drop all of the tools that we've spoken about into the chats on the social media platforms, so you can find them there. Secondly, you talked just now, and I don't want to go back, but I do. Paying yourself is a really difficult thing for small business owners to know when to do that. And we are very fortunate at Digital Boost to have Sam Harith come on, who has a PhD in finance, and he did a whole session on how to pay yourself. So if you or anybody else, like, you've already kind of figured it out, but for those of you that are sitting there going, she's talking about something that I don't know how to do, Sam outlines, he's an accountant, he's a registered accountant. He has a financial advisory firm, and he's also has a PhD in finance. You can check out that session on how to pay yourself. And one of his businesses is the Comic Accountant, so he's quite light. He says he puts the fun in finance. So you can check out that session with Sam. If you go to Digital Boost, just look up how to pay yourself, and the session will drop down. It was really great. So now back to you, Kit Watson. I'm sorry, but I love when people get little tidbits, and I didn't want them to miss out on that.
Yeah.
Tell us about some of the foundational tools besides 365, that you use for your business or in your business.
Yeah. So I wrote them down, actually.
Because, fantastic. Let's get into it.
This is a lot.
Yeah.
And it's different for different clients, but for myself, obviously using Office 365. For like internal job management, I'm using Workflow Max, which then integrates into Xero for our accounting. I built my website in Squarespace, which I generally, when I'm building websites for clients, I usually use WordPress, but that was just me putting something together to get out there, and it's been working. And then, that clicks through to Calendly, so people can book those free consults. I use Google Business, Tag Manager, Analytics, ads. I actually don't use ads very much for myself because my workload is full, but I do have it ready there if I do need it. Massively use Instagram. That's my main social channel.
Why is that? Why do you use Instagram more than other channels?
I think I was using it personally, and then I've actually got a community initiative that I run alongside a friend, and we use Instagram for that, and it worked, and it's where a lot of my connections are. Interestingly, Facebook is actually where, although like it doesn't get as much engagement, it's actually brought through probably the most clients. So I do tell people, like, don't get like upset if you're only getting a few likes on Facebook. It can seem like a bit of a like dead horse or something, but quite often it's quite effective. So it's important to be on both. I use LinkedIn a little bit. I want to use it more. When I've got,
well, that's interesting because, what do we call, those are called like what, superficial reactions, or they're called something out like aesthetic reactions or something, when the likes and the, comments and stuff like that, they don't always fruit leads. You could have 1 million likes, but if nobody actually clicks through, it doesn't really affect your bottom line. I find it interesting that Instagram is where, you're kind of most focused, because I think of it as such a visual platform. I want to ask you how you're using Instagram in order to promote your business. Are you using more posts, reels, stories? How do you put your content out there on that platform?
It's really interesting because I know a lot of people love it for the visual side, and I love photos. Like, I absolutely love taking photos and I love looking at photos. But Instagram for me is so connected. I generally work with service-based businesses, so a lot of trades people are on there. I actually feel like it's really interactive. I just tagging, engaging. I think it's a reciprocal thing. I think I'm presenting on this in June.
Yeah, you've got, see, I lined her up. I thought of you guys. I lined her up to do another session as well because this is what she does so well. But yeah.
So that's purely what I'm going to talk about, is actually like connecting through social media. I think a lot of the time people think they're going to blast a few posts out there, and but actually it does take like engagement and connecting and giving. Like, you know, you have to be seeing other people for them to see you as well. So I try and be really like generous and supportive of people, which that
is working, obviously. Because I know that there's trend right now with Instagram, you know, due to the competition that's happening between TikTok and, you know, Facebook or Meta. You know, Reels are obviously were kicked out because TikTok was so you know, was killing it on that sense. And so like Reels came about, and Reels, you know, now they put Reels on Facebook, and, you know, they've actually changed the algorithm slightly on Instagram with Reels currently, so that if you're using them, you're getting more organic reach than you were just a short while ago. When you're doing your Instagram posts, do you use a lot of Reels, or are you doing mostly just static posts?
We're starting to use Reels a lot more, and you're right, they do get more reach. They definitely get more reach, and they get more longevity. So they'll go like longer than a general like static post does. Most of the time I actually just jump in stories and say, hey guys, this is what I'm up to this week.
Yeah.
And that generally gets the most like response. I don't try and like look my best, or I never like practice or do like, I just think, oh, that's like a topic I can talk about. And then I jump on for 60 seconds and talk about it. If it's like anything interesting or helpful or something like that, that's kind of mostly what I'm doing, but we're starting to do a bit more Reels as well. And
yeah, it is an adjustment, isn't it? You got to think about, you know, it is, you got to have the music, you got to, you know, you want to be trending, you know, all of that kind of stuff. So it is a bit of an adjustment. When I had Facebook on here, that we didn't have Reels, actually, was when they came on, but the way that they used to describe stories, the way that the representative said the difference between a post on Instagram and a story, or a post on Facebook and a story, is that Instagram is like your catalog, and stories is reality TV. Don't flash yourself up. People don't want you to be flashy on a story. We want to see the nitty gritty. And I can't tell you how many business owners that have made it, that I've seen talk about their most popular posts are the ones where they don't have makeup on, that they're really relatable, because, look, there's that whole trend of, this is what I look like with a filter. This is what I look like without a filter, you know, because I think some of us are quite over the whole filter kind of, I want to see a real person kind of thing, you know what I mean? And when you're wanting to talk to a business, you want to know that they're real. Hey.
Yeah, I think well, like the other thing is I'm trying to attract like authentic people as my clients. So yeah, that's the whole thing, is just being authentic is really, really important. I think you can see filters. And it's like, I try and encourage people not to use stock imagery, for example, as much as possible, because I think we instantly in our heads are like, oh, it's not real, or, you know, like we can't resonate with it. And I know Instagram is about, like, the actual feed is about looking good, but I often encourage people to be more raw. Yeah.
That's really interesting. I love hearing what you're doing, because this is an area that you kind of specialize in. And LinkedIn, get into it. I'm a big fan of LinkedIn, to be honest. Because nobody's there to, there's not a lot of high horse kind of stuff happening, soapbox kind of stuff. It's quite positive environment, I find. And I really love seeing the innovations, and possibly that's just my feed. I don't know. I love seeing the innovative things that are happening, the support of folks around Aotearoa and globally of different initiatives. And I think it's a really great place for business to business connections, or if your customers are sitting there, then that's a good place for you. So now we've kind of talked about some of your systems. We've talked about your website. We've talked about, which is interesting that you pick Squarespace, but you use WordPress for most of your clients. Yeah. What was that about? What?
I think that was just budget and the fact that I already knew how to use like Squarespace. I built a few websites on Squarespace before, and I move like very quickly at what I do. So I basically decided one week that I was going to start my business, and then I was like, right, I'll build it. The first thing I need to do is build a website. So I just built it on Squarespace, but some of my clients are already on Squarespace, and I'll do like work for them on their sites or Wix, etc. But generally, when I'm building a client's website from scratch, I get like a web designer and a web developer on board, and we do like a really nice like user experience and go that way.
Yeah, WordPress has so many capabilities. You really do own your site. I'm not promoting one over the other. I am Switzerland, okay, here at Digital Boost. But, depending on what your business needs, WordPress can have some great integrations for certain business models that work better than other platforms, just like some other systems work better for other businesses as well. Yeah. So would you say, are there any other, you use Xero for your financial kind of stuff? And so what they're paying through your website, or are you invoicing through Xero and then that's coming through, or how do you work your payment system and your payroll? I guess interesting to hear.
So payroll is Xero, but jobs like projects or jobs is invoiced through Workflow Max. That's just where we keep our timesheets and all our hours and things like that. So that's done, but then it integrates with Xero. I think it's owned by Xero, so it goes straight through.
It is.
Yeah.
I always forget. Like you said that, and I went, oh yeah, I had Workflow Max on here, and all their emails say Xero. Yeah. So yeah, for sure. It's a really good tool. I know a lot of businesses that use Workflow Max, and they've come on and done some demos for us. So if you're watching and you're interested to hear about that, because you've got some employees or you want to manage some workflows like that, have a look at some of the sessions that we've done with them. And then we've also done some sessions with Xero. So if you wanted to check out some information about how to use this system, I think they did like 16 to 20 sessions with us, and each one focused on a different aspect of Xero, and they literally just walk you through how to do it. It's not like a hi, welcome to Xero. It's like, and now we're going to go into the platform and we will walk you through. So do check out those sessions. They're really informative. We were very grateful for them to come on board at the inception of Digital Boost and really give our users a lot of support. They often, I'm going to do a little plug, but here, sorry, Kit. But they actually offer free mental health care for all of their members, if you didn't know that. Yeah, and their family members. Like it's pretty phenomenal. I really love that about that platform, because we often, as you mentioned, the overwhelm, that stress that small businesses, especially owners, go through is quite substantial, and often can feel very isolating. And so it's lovely that a business has thought about that and is kind of put that into their pillars of how they engage with their users. So lovely.
Awesome.
All right. So we talked about that. We've done, do you feel like that's all your tools? Do you have any more up your sleeves there? In the wings?
Georgia's just got us on TikTok. So
there we go. Yeah.
We use a combination of Canva and Adobe for like design. And then just like online directories, and it's like endless. I had to write it down because I was like, there's so many tools that you use for so many different things, and most of the time it comes from discovering that there's a need somewhere, and then you go out and find a tool for it.
That's right. Now, do you use the free version of Canva, or do you have
paid? We use the paid version. We work with like clients at all different levels. So sometimes our clients actually are really hands-on with their own social media, and they might just want like Canva templates. So we have to kind of have the pro version so that we can do quite a bit for different people and have a team there.
It's totally fine to pay for tools.
Yeah.
And I think, we do talk about that a lot in here, that there are so many free tools that you can use, but there are also, paid versions of those tools. And if that's an area that you specialize in, you think about the return, versus investment, because having the pro version gives you access to a lot of things. It also allows you to upload your logo and do things like that. I mean, you can do your brand colors, but not your logo. So when you go move into that pro kind of thing on Canva, you can do that. I will give a shout out, like I always do, to Design Space, which is a Kiwi-based Canva. And they have lots of free things. They've got heaps of cool Kiwi imagery assets. They're helping to link graphic designers with people who are looking to get help, and they're all like Aotearoa based out in down in, I've heard it called as the South, which is they're down in Christchurch.
Oh, okay.
Maybe not too far.
So you're gonna say like in Chicago or something?
No, not too far, but yeah. John Boyle, he's lovely. Well, you know what? He's lovely, but he's also a man with a mission, I'll tell you that. So do check out that tool. It's DZYN and then a space and then space. So Design Space. It's pretty cool. And he worked with a lot of graphic designers to come up with that app, just because he felt like, hey, you know what? We don't have a Kiwi-based tool like this. Let's make one. And that is the Kiwi way. If I must say, like slam my fist down, that's the Kiwi way. Okay, so we've got all these tools, you've got all of that. I feel like we've kind of covered so much great stuff in this session. I've absolutely loved it. I want to wrap it with a bow with just a little bit of advice that you have for small businesses out there getting started. It doesn't have to be, it could be something that Bree has passed on to you, that it really resonated with you and you want to spread that love, or, just something that comes from your heart that is all yours.
Yeah, I've probably got quite a bit to say here, but yes, be kind to yourself, set boundaries, get good advice, surround yourself with good people who likely see you. Try and find that work-life balance, and don't be afraid to reach out for help.
Great. Oh, this has been such a lovely session. I just want to jump over one more time to the socials because I can see people watching. I just want to make sure I don't miss any comments or anything like that. I'm so glad that so many people have tuned in over out there in the cloud universe to hear about SideKit and your story and the wonderful team that you have backing you up, that you have built. You have built this from scratch and you have worked really hard, and the proof is in the pudding, Kit. The proof's in the pudding, and we are really grateful to have you here on Digital Boost, and I'm really looking forward to our how-to plus Q&A session that we've lined up, because you are such an expert in what you do with, over 15 years experience in the area that you specialize in. So we're always looking forward to having stellar people like yourself join us here on Digital Boost. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and hopefully I've helped someone today.
Yes. Yes. Well, have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And I will see you next Monday, as per usual. Looking forward to it. We'll have Zealed on with us next Monday. I believe Jara and David are going to be joining me. So thank you, Kit.
You're welcome.
See you next time.
Yeah. Look forward to it. Bye.